All right, everyone. The CEO of Juul, I guess that's how it's pronounced. I don't vape because, I grew up, has stepped down and they've suspended all advertising, I guess, as part of this fracas against vaping and e-cigs and shit like that. Their products are sold in Walmart, or at least they were being. Don't worry, though. If you're addicted to nicotine, it's okay. Walmart would like to remind you it's perfectly acceptable if you're above 18 or 21, oddly, now here in Vermont. They changed the smoking age. You can buy your Marlboros and smoke yourself to death. Just don't touch the e-cigs. They're dangerous and shit. Smoking's good for you and fucking, just basically go smoke yourself into a coma, dude. Fucking go and smoke yourself to death, says Walmart. We don't care as long as it's all American tobacco and not something from China. Just ban imports from China and you wouldn't have half of these health problems associated with vaping in the first place. Oh my god, Jimmy got popcorn lung because of his e-cigarette. Well, little Jimmy was being an ass. And he decided that instead of spending a couple dollars more per unit for something that was trustworthy, he decided to get El Schwigio's blend or something. He decided to go out into the alleyway and get something from a crack whore, and he's wondering why he got popcorn lung. Do these moralists even hear themselves in some of the claims that they're making? I don't think that they do sometimes. It's like it's beyond the NPC meme. They don't have self-awareness in any way, shape, or form sometimes. They don't even understand it. So, in other words, Walmart should be applauded for saying, well, we're not going to have e-cig stuff. The booze is okay. The diabetes-causing fucking sugary shit that we sell, the Twinkies and shit, that's perfectly fine. No public health crisis. Smoke tobacco, kids. It's comes in 5 different colors now. That's all good. Just don't touch the e-cigarettes. Interesting how moral panics work. I can remember the big moral panic when I was a kid was inhalants. They were convinced that kids were routinely getting high off of whipped cream canisters and stuff instead of doing what normal kids do and eating the whipped cream and then getting diabetes, which is probably just as bad for them. That never really happened. The idea that was common, it's just like sniffing glue in the 50s. The idea that little Jimmy was doing that, not very common. What you did actually is you popularized the notion by reporting on it in the first place. The same is true all along. Like, nobody would ever think to take banana strings, dry them, and smoke them thinking that it was a drug. By the way, bananarine doesn't actually exist. Nobody ever would have, in a million years, fathomed the idea of smoking banana peels until it was spoken of in a bunch of, hippie magazines, and then the lamestream media reported on it. Morning glory seeds. And nobody ever heard of that when I was a kid, unless they were some old hippie or they were particularly tech literate. Then, of course, Arrowwood comes along, and then the rest is history. No, the CEO is stepping down because he's a big pussy, basically. I'm not surprised because he's a vaping CEO. Someone pointed out, well, this is a mainstream, like a tobacco firm. This isn't like mom and pop e-cig juice vendor. Okay, maybe so. He's still a pussy. Standing down instead of doing what he should do. He should come out. He should have put out a press conference and said, look, you're talking about a few hundred cases of health concerns, health problems, not even deaths, but just problems in general, over the course of a year. Look at the number of deaths from smoking. Well, we're trying to get people to stop smoking. They can wean themselves off. At least it's not a cigarette. Look at the deaths from drinking. Perfectly legal. You're 21. You can walk into a liquor store. There is no limit. You can walk into a liquor store with a cart, fill it full of vodka, check out for a couple $100. You have enough alcohol to kill a few dozen people. Absolutely. And then it's wonderful. It's all American and perfect. Even if it's imported, it's fucking Russian vodka. Nobody cares. That's probably, a safe import, safer than the e-cig juice that you get from China. You can get, still, I think Ivory Mist and some of these bath salt fucking bullshit drugs are still available in certain states. I remember when they went after salvia. It's funny, when salvia was popularized, I'm just going on a little bit of a rant about moral panics related to drugs right now. Salvia gets popularized. Within the course of a couple of years, they really cracked down heavy-handed regulation at the state and local level. Number one, certainly imports, a million different laws and regulations. With spice or bath salts, things that were genuinely dangerous, like not herbal, not extracted material from a plant somewhere, but some chemical from a lab in China. They hardly even knew what it was half the time. Fucking, they have to, every time someone ODs, they have to check it to see if it's some new chemical. Those took them a long time to react now, didn't it? They didn't care how many people got fried. They didn't care how many people fucking keeled over. I could have keeled over. Hell, I still wonder, is there any residual vascular damage or nervous system damage because of my overdose? Could be. I haven't dropped dead yet, though, so, you know, we'll drink more coffee and see what happens. By the way, no shit, coffee actually is vasoprotective. They always used to think that it caused strokes and heart attacks. They found out that was because the initial studies, they failed to separate coffee from tobacco. The thing is that people who drank coffee, there's a high correlation with tobacco usage, because people smoke cigarettes and drink coffee is sort of a cultural thing. They found out once they fixed for that, actually people who drank a hell of a lot of coffee had less problems. I think it simulates exercise, gets your heart rate up. It actually prevents, you know, the stagnation of the blood clotting and stuff. I think it's good for you. Yeah, you should probably drink more coffee. It's probably healthy. It's got, like, you know, the fatty oils and protein or whatever. It's got vitamins and shit. Fucking drink it. Feels good, tastes good. It allows you to buy more of my mugs. Fucking check them out. TarlWarwick.net, by the way. Not to pitch my own drug-related product. Pretty soon they'll call coffee cups paraphernalia. They'll go after coffee because it's something healthy and because we don't grow a lot of it in the U.S. But as far as, and e-cigs, because, you know, everyone imports from China because they're cheap assholes. But as far as tobacco and alcohol, we got plenty of it. It's perfectly fine. Little Jimmy should just smoke more Winstons. He'll be healthy and should turn him into a Marlboro man. Give him his cowboy hat and his fucking Lucky Strikes. Fucking dumb. But it's funny to see the CEO step down. My hot take was basically, well, I'm not surprised he would step down, but like a pussy, like a coward, because he's a vaping CEO. And no, I'm not trying to be too stereotypical and stuff. Like, I don't have a problem with vaping. If you're vaping to try to get off cigarettes, good. It's good. I think you should just quit cold turkey, but, you know, that's just me. You know, do something. Do whatever you need to do. Get off the fucking tobacco. It's a good thing. That being said, though, people who choose to vape, like, they're not addicted to nicotine. They say, well, I'll try the e-cigarette. Are you nuts? It's still addictive, dude. You realize that, correct? A waste of money. There's no reason to use it. And as far as vaping something that doesn't even have nicotine or it's not cannabis related or something, what's the point? Oh, but it tastes like vanilla. Well, then, you know, there's vanilla lipsticks. There's also vanilla extract. Why don't you just sip some vanilla extract? Plus, it's got alcohol in it. Disclaimer, not actually recommending that. I think he'd probably puke. I don't think it's meant to be imbibed in that manner. Maybe you can. Somebody should get back to me on that. Like the heavily alcoholic, usually like 35-40%, extracts of vanilla and stuff you can get in the store. I wonder if you can get drunk off those. I think it's the right kind of alcohol. I mean, if it were methyl alcohol, they couldn't put it in food. I guess you probably could get drunk off of it. I wonder if anyone makes mixed drinks with that. It'd be expensive as fuck, but I think it'd be a way around, I guess, the age 21 limit, I suppose, for trust funders who have more money than sense. Oh yeah, I got blasted in middle school today. It was great. Vanilla extract is wonderful. Again, disclaimer, that's a bad idea. You know, use Arrowhead. It's probably safer. That's about all. Peace out.